because I've been to so many wrecks, man. So many horrible wrecks where I remember. I'm gonna tell you this one story. I-20 is the worst. Right there, 285 going into the city from the west side. I've seen so many people.
Like
I've seen so many people.
Like Coke, Grady,
right
and all
past
that.
Six Flags. You get past that FIB area, right?
Okay.
I've seen so many bad wrecks just in that area of just people like getting smashed to the back to people not paying attention, hitting the back of tractor trailers, even though it's not their fault. You know what I'm saying? It's not even their fault.
Yeah.
I've seen a tractor trailer going too fast, and he tries to not hit the cars in front of him, but he ends up hitting the wall, going through the wall and hitting somebody head on.
Yeah. That's
Georgia,
crazy.
it was a University of Georgia student coming back home for holidays. You can even tell the motor came out of the tractor trailer was on top of the car.
What's up, world? Welcome back to the Tune In with Tony podcast, and I am with a great inspiration to anybody that is actually working a 9-to-5 who thinks it's a jail and feels like they can't create their own business. This guy right here did over 15 years in law enforcement while building his own DJ business, and he now even has an additional business where he's helping with truck compliance. So we're going to break all of that down, and what I hope that you gain out of this episode is how you don't have to feel stuck in one place, how you can be building other businesses alongside. So I want to welcome you to the show. What's up, Patrick? How you doing?
What's going on, Tony? What's up, everybody?
What's up?
I'm excited to be here. Finally.
Yeah, definitely. So cool. So the first thing I want to talk about is how did you get into law enforcement? Because that was your first job, right?
Yeah. So I guess many years ago, I don't know why, I just from a small town, I just it was just in my heart. Like I looked up to the police officers of our small town.
Yeah.
And started becoming familiar with who they are. They knew me. I used to do some crazy things back in the day when I was younger, but somehow I still wanted to do it, right? So, just being able to intern with them and just ride with them, during their after I get out of school, I would ride with some of the cops and whatnot, and I just loved it. I love the community aspect, just talking to people and just being able to kind of actually help, get some
help
people
serve.
help serve.
Got you.
So that's how it all started, just a long time ago, just being young and being influenced by that and wanting to do more.
Got you. I can kind of see that from a small city. So we're in Atlanta, right?
Right.
When you said you used to ride with the cops, how did you do that to where it wasn't awkward? Because in Atlanta, it just seems weird to just jump in the car. You know what I'm saying?
It would be a different world. The stuff that I did then wouldn't,
it wouldn't even work now.
Wouldn't even work now,
Got
especially.
You.
But back then, we used to get in the chases. I'm not a police officer, a young kid in a car.
Yeah.
Getting in chases and me over here searching cars. I mean, it's
that's what you can do in a small town, right?
Because thrown out if I was, I'm in here looking for drugs, the drugs they threw out, learning stuff. Dang. But it was cool though. It was really
because
cool.
as an Atlanta cop, that probably never happened, would it? No, not at all. Cool. So then, while doing that, right? How long were you in law enforcement before you started your own business?
I started my business when I was 14.
Okay, so this was even before the career.
Right.
Got you.
I started DJing when I was 14.
Okay.
And the biggest thing with that is I always loved music. My friends, we were always the center. Every time we showed up, we were the people, right?
Yeah.
Like I said, we started making CDs. My mom bought me a HP
burning
laptop.
CDs online. Yep.
She bought me an HP laptop. My mom had a little shed in the back. Her friends would come over, right?
Yeah.
And I would, you could start mixing up CD the music tracks, right?
Yeah.
You have to listen to the same music over
Right.
and over. We mixed up. Where do you want? I made a list.
Mm-hmm.
It was one CD for $5, two for $10. Really good deal. Really
what
good deal.
year was this for the people so they know?
Wow.
Where were we at?
Jesus.
It's early 2000s.
Oh yeah, early 2000s.
Yeah, early 2000s for sure. Yeah.
I was super young. I was super young.
Uh-huh.
2000. It all runs together because it was just it was always a part of my life essentially, right?
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
That's where it started off, and making those CDs, we start bringing those to parties.
Okay.
Then people we start plugging into. I had a laptop, start plugging into the little audio, their stereos. And it became a dream after that, man. It really did.
And as we're talking about the background story, we're gonna keep talking about that, but let's just let the audience know where is Just in Time today? How many people work for you? How many parties do y'all do? Just to kind of so people are listening, they understand what we're talking about.
Yeah, I like to say pre-COVID we had 20. But
Okay.
we're down to 12 DJs on paper right now.
Okay.
On and off DJs that we contract out to as well.
Okay.
But we like to bring all of our DJs in-house because training and culture is very important in a DJ company. There are a lot of DJ companies out there, or a lot of DJs.
Yeah.
Because there are some companies I thought that were bigger than ours, but they're really not. They were asking us for help. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, dang, I thought this company was bigger than mine. They're really not. And the way we do things is so different. We operate as a business, as a unit, as a team.
Got
right?
you.
A lot of companies don't do that. But where we are presently, we have 12 DJs. We have about 6 photo booth people. We have 2 salespeople. We have a warehouse guy, 1 or 2 warehouse guys that like keep the equipment looked at and checked at as things come in. So and it's always an evolving process, right? So we're wanting to grow back to 20 to 30 DJs and continue to cover 4 states. 4
Got you.
states.
So when you say the business, it operates as a business, as a unit, it's different. That actually stands out to me because what I'm thinking, if I had a DJ company, and this is probably how the other competitors you do it, it would be like we have a way to get leads, right? And then I just know DJs, and I'm just hitting up who's ever available.
Right.
But you guys seem like you're actually like a company to where it's not just like guys you just hit up to see who's first available and you're just sending them out and taking a cut. It's probably way different than that, isn't it?
Man, it's so different. It's the brand. Everybody knows the Just-in-Time DJ brand, and I guess sometimes they call me Justin. I answer to Justin sometimes. Hey, you Justin? Yeah, I'm Justin, right?
Yeah.
But I'm Patrick, right? So I created it. I never wanted Just-in-Time DJ to always be about me. I didn't want to be in the spotlight at all times, but just being in the community and getting out there. I mean, it was hard work. I started off with my friends and family members. We were, like I said, the center of attention. We just did what we did. We danced. We got out there. We leave the DJ booth. We get out there and dance and play the music people want.
Y'all make an experience.
We're making an experience, not just standing behind the DJ booth. And I think that's what people like about us. And we've always had event techs, our people who set up equipment.
Okay.
They set up, but then during the event, hey, they're dancing. They're out there interacting, being the faces of the company, showing that energy. Not just through the DJ, helping the DJ out. You know what I'm saying? It's a team effort.
Makes sense. Okay.
That's what makes it different.
So then with that, like what was like your first, because obviously you're getting your own gigs. What type of gigs were you getting? And then how did you start expanding into like a full event production? So like you're by yourself, right?
Right.
Then was it a situation where you're just like, dang, I'm getting more demand than I can handle? So then you probably put your buddy on and then it kind of grew from there. Is that what happened?
All right. First we started like little parties, birthday parties at houses.
Yeah.
I think the first, I say big gig I got was a middle school dance, and we still do it to this day.
Yeah.
My dad had someone, knew one of the teachers or principals there, and they was like, can you do this? But she was really strict. And at the time, like, our setup looked like crap. Like, it was a table and wires everywhere. So, that's how we started off, right? And so, she was really strict. She was like, you need to make sure y'all are dressed up because she wants us to be example for the kids. So, so we start wearing bow ties. The first time, our first pictures was just in time. We didn't have a logo. We had bow ties. And I went to Hobby Lobby and bought the little kit with the bow. I had a red bow tie. Everybody had a black bow tie. That was the team, right? And those were my friends. So that was the first time we got like an official event where it was an actual school that had to pay us, right? So, and then from there, that's when it pretty much expanded to
Got
other
you.
things.
Okay. So now just thinking about the business and the operation of it, do people like pick the DJ or you guys have full control of who goes out?
We have full control of who goes out. They do have the opportunity. It is an upcharge for me to go out. Of course, I want our team to go first. Yeah. And they're amazing, like I said. So if they do want a specific DJ, they can. If they've seen a DJ before, we give them options. But if not, we're going to pick the best DJ for the type of music that they want and the crowd, the location. There's a lot of things that goes into it, where they are, stuff like that. We do in the background.
So at this point, are you guys pretty much booked like every weekend? There's always something going on.
Always something.
Always. Okay.
I guess we have about 5 or 6 on like a Saturday, sometimes. Sometimes 3 on a Friday. Yeah. So we try to keep our DJs busy as much as possible. Okay. But once again, we need to get back to when we had 10 to 12 events on a day.
Dang.
We got to get back to that.
Do DJs ever do 2 events in a day?
Sometimes, yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes, yeah.
Cool. Man, that's super cool. So how did you manage it, though, while you were working? Because that's why I want people to see that, too, like we said. Because you said a 9 to 5 doesn't have to be a jail, right? Can you break that down just because you're retired now, but just your experience of it not being a jail and you still being able to operate?
Funny, I started working, I'd say I was DJing 14 still till now. I started actually working for the police department 2010, so right when I graduated. That's when JITD became official, but that's when I also started working, right? So I've always used it, the money, coming from my job to buy more equipment as well, right? But I also just used my time. I do remember I worked in our capital division, which you work, 3 to 11. That's your time. You have to work 3 to 11, right? And I missed 2 prom seasons where I couldn't because I had to work my 3-11 shift, and I was like, I can't do this.
Yeah.
So I did switch to another division, which is our motor carrier division. And that's when I started, like, I could set my schedule a little bit better. I had a little bit more freedom. I could take more calls, So that working, you work 40 hours a week, right?
Yeah.
But it's really just getting in between and just actually doing it once you get off or before or sometimes, on your way to work or whatnot. So that's what I had to do for a long time.
Yeah.
And, there are some points where you think, you want to hand it off to other people. It worked sometimes, most of the time it didn't though, right?
Yeah.
But we didn't have structure though. But and I wasn't, like watching them the way I should have, or I didn't pour into them what I need to pour in them for them to even run my business. You know what I'm saying?
So, that's where I want to touch on too, because being an entrepreneur, there's so much work, right?
Right.
And was the business, so now that you're retired, I'm sure the business is better because you have more time. Was the business still like great then?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so
Oh, yeah.
what I want to know is a lot of times we have 24 hours in a day, right? And it's just about how you manage it.
Yeah.
How did you keep the balance of being able to serve and protect in a city like Atlanta that's busy, but still, like, I'm sure customers were calling, trying to get quotes and all of that. How are you still maintaining all of that?
Systems.
Mm-hmm.
Build an automatic system within our DJ. Like, you just literally click buttons and the emails go out automatically.
Yeah.
You had automatic contracts. You just send it out. Text message or Google Voice saved me a lot too as well.
Yeah.
But what really changed the game is when I got an assistant about 5 years ago.
Okay.
I brought a VA in, like literally. Like
Gotcha.
my VA is still with me and he's amazing.
Hey guys, hope you are loving the episode. Like I said, if you're a business coach, online entrepreneur, and you have a product or service to sell, especially my course creators, people who sell credit repair, but ultimately any product or service that needs to get in front of people, I have the most efficient system that you could use to sell that product or service. It's called the VSL Masterclass, which allows you to get in front of high intent prospects because we pre-qualify them first so that you're no longer wasting time, and we put them on group sales calls so you don't have to do all that one-on-one call burnout. If that sounds like something you're interested in, click the link below. I have a free class today that you can join where I'll break it all down. I'll be in the class where you can ask me questions and answers. And if that makes sense, like I said, click the link below and let's get back to the episode. Man, that's awesome, because that's another thing too to think about an assistant. So you had the assistant while you were working, right? Yep. And what people may not be thinking is having that VA, right, was not like a American cost, right? So you were able to still not just drain the business bank account by having an expensive employee. You're able to have a VA. You probably, did you have to vet them to make sure that like their voice sounded like familiar to like your audience and all of that?
Gosh, yes.
Yeah.
But even before that, I went through that process too.
Yeah.
Of hiring people over here in the United States, right? I did that. It worked out for a time.
Yeah.
But once again, at the point we didn't have the right systems, right? So it just burned out, and it's like, okay, it's time to go. We had that, but they were doing too much stuff, and then we weren't training them the right way. You know what I'm saying? So we've had college interns do it from our local college.
Yeah.
It worked out for a little bit, but it's just like, it just kept like, it would be good, then it would just like, okay, you're not doing what we really need you to do.
And that's the hard part too in business, because it's like you find a little freedom, then the person leaves, and then now you're like, dang, how do I juggle this again, right?
Right.
So when you had your systems, were you the systems guy, or did you just like fall on a good software and it just changed everything? How was it for you?
It was multiple, it went multiple ways. I finally had decided, I'm like, let me find somebody. I found somebody that did like sales. They were really good at sales. So they came up with like a sales platform for us. And there's like, that's when I, decided to get the assistant. They were like, hey, you need, like, you're doing a lot. Like you need to get an assistant to run this thing. And that's when it kind of changed my life. I did some vetting, but the first one I found was not good.
Right.
I really didn't like that assistant. It just wasn't for us.
Yeah.
So then did some more vetting. I ran into RJ. He's amazing. He's my executive assistant now, and he runs a lot of my companies. Helps me everything from scheduling to emails. If I ain't got to see email, I don't have to answering phone calls. So I got a really good team now. So.
Got you. What would you tell somebody who wanted to start an event production company like yours? And is event production the correct word, or is it solely DJ?
DJ entertainment.
DJ
photo
entertainment.
booths, and we do have, drapery. We have a lot of lighting and other things, games and stuff like that. So it's kind of like it's spread out a little bit based on our clients' needs. Yeah. But like you said, what would I tell them?
Where do you house all of that actually?
We had a warehouse, big warehouse.
Yeah.
Now I bought a 6-acre property and it's all there now.
Got you.
Safe.
Okay. What about, because I used to do event spaces. What is it like managing like the logistics of it all as well? And now, like I said, I know you're retired. Was that difficult at all, or was that just the VA? Because, you know, like what I'm thinking is when I did event spaces, I only focused on the space. I didn't have the upsells. Like you said, it would have helped make a lot more money. But with the upsells, it could be like the DJ's here, but then it's like, hey, you know, we also ordered a photo booth. Has that ever happened? You know what I mean?
Tony, last week, like, like I love our photo booth people. Our DJs are on it. They're on it. They know the process.
Yep.
You know, DJ get there super early. Then we had it last week. You know, I'll be honest. Like we had it where the photo booth was a little bit later than what they're supposed to get there. So I don't like when you have a client. Hey, are y'all gonna have enough time to set up and all that? You know, that shouldn't be the case.
Right.
We've been we were on the way out here. We were talking about that. You know, how can we make sure in our last meeting as well. So they have to talk. So we do like weekly huddles now for event huddles, like on a Wednesday and a Thursday. So whoever's going to that one event, we're gonna be in a huddle together. We're gonna talk about the logistics. Because there's no reason I have a photo booth guy coming from. We're in Douglasville, right? So that's in the middle. Atlanta's on the east, and then Carrollton, one of our bigger areas, is on the west too as well. So we're in the middle of Atlanta and Carrollton, right?
Right.
So we had, if we have a DJ coming from Atlanta going out his way to pick up the van and then going back to Atlanta, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
We got to talk about this, and it could like just little things like that. You have to talk. You have to communicate. That's what I'm saying. Communicate. Our team is communicating more. We hired a manager, our vice president of talent and training, because that's super important. He onboards and he makes sure DJs are trained, and then they make sure they're taken care of while they're here, right?
Yeah.
We have a photo booth manager who's out there too as well, Tyler. The biggest thing is that make sure your guys are good, that they know what's going on, they know logistics. So I would say just having that communication between your team and just being open and like that makes it work so much better. You know, the systems work. But also human communication, it works even better.
Yeah. Because if you don't have that, I know as a business owner, you have those days when I was running my event space where there would be times where I'm like, I got an off day.
Yeah.
And then something happens, and then we're driving as the business owner to the event. You've done that before, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I had to drop some stuff off. Have you ever had to randomly just DJ like last minute? Or it's not that part, because it seems like you got the DJ part down.
Thank God we haven't had that before.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe had to start something maybe for them, but not a long time. No.
Got you.
We have some great people that have been with us at least 7 or 8 years. You know what I'm saying? So like, I think that trust factor. But it scares me when we bring in new DJs that don't know that culture yet.
Yeah.
So, but we always have a backup DJ.
Yeah.
To make sure it starts.
And before we get off this topic and like switch to like your other businesses, what would you say to somebody, the pros? Let's just talk about the pros, because a lot of times we talk about like the jobs with the 9 to 5 could be a trap, right?
Right.
So with your situation, what was the core benefit of working that 15 years while building your business?
Man.
Because no one really talks about that. You see what I'm saying?
Oh man. I'm not the uniform. It got me into places I couldn't get myself. It got me in front of people that I wouldn't have been couldn't get in front of, right? So I think the connections, the net. I'm a big networker. I'm gonna talk. I talk to everybody, and that was my job. I actually got it. It wasn't a job that we had with the police department, but they made a position as the recruiting coordinator for the state. So that means I'm the guy that everybody sees first. I'm on all the billboards, on our posters, on the banners and everything. So I'm that guy, all the social media and stuff. So I controlled all that kind of stuff too as well. But it's just the connections. I even do the events for the state where the governor pulls up at. You know, so I do all of our anniversaries and the colonels or retirement.
Those are like your yearly.
We do those things. You know what I'm saying? So it helped me become the young man I was to become the man I was today. I'm not gonna lie, it did help me, that 9 to 5 and having that steady paycheck.
Yeah.
Because that money fueled the company, Jeff. I bought so much equipment with my check starting off. You know what I'm saying?
It was the investor for the business. And that's what I tell people all the time. It's like sometimes your job should be your investor. Right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For sure.
And it can be a cage sometimes if you're not using it right. But I use it to make connections, to build, to build trust in the people. You know,
because you're seeing so many people in that field for sure. Yeah. What about what would you say for a business like yours, right? I'm sure you have some contracts that are like locked in almost versus just basically, because as you build a team, right? The thing that can also be scary is you have a couple good months and then now you scale your business to that level versus like, okay, I know that this is going to come in at these times of year so I can build that business off of it.
Right.
So what is your advice on like how to build those contracts versus just waiting for someone to call and say I need a DJ for a birthday? Like what it do? That was just relationship building, I'm assuming.
Relationship building. Building the trust in the brand. That's how we did it.
Yeah.
And that's how we still do it. So there's cities that we have contracts with.
What is that like, getting a city contract? Like what are you doing? Is it like for...
So they have events throughout the year. Some of our cities. I mean, we have one with the City of Atlanta too as well. But City of Atlanta is huge because they have different like departments, like the watershed, and just different like senators or like the city council people. So they all have their own little things too as well. So once you get in the system, they can look up and say, hey, this we see a DJ photo booth and a photo booth company there. So I want my photo booth person is like, you need to have a photo booth. So I got you.
Yeah, that's cool.
We have photo booths, just in time photobooths.com. All right,
nice.
So I got to shout them out, Tyler. I got you. But yeah, that's what it looks like. And they like what we do. For one of our Cobb cities, like we do their 4th of July. That's one of the biggest things. We're on the square for the 4th of July. We have a DJ and MC there. So that's what we do, and all the little things they have at the rec departments year round. So anything they have, Christmas, Santa, we have MCs that just go there. Yeah, we might not have any play music, but we have our master of ceremonies there, right? We have our MCs there.
Nice. What did the upsells do for your business by like offering? Because of course the core business is DJ, but you said you have the draping, the lighting, the photo booths. Like, did that give you a bump in income just by like being able to offer those extra things?
Oh yeah, of course. Like especially photo booth. Photo booths are a big changer for us. Especially like there's so many different types now, and there's a lot of photo booth people out there. But the way we operate ours is a little bit different, right? So just photo booths, the drapery, like we're a DJ company. Why do we have drapes?
Yeah.
But we need it for like some good backgrounds. Are you trying to separate? You can just it's just a one-stop shop for some of that stuff, right?
Yeah.
And I just keep getting asked like, oh, do y'all do videography and photography? And we're thinking about some stuff, even planning. People ask us about that stuff, which we have the capabilities to do. But I just want to make sure our DJ stuff is good and our photo booth stuff is just solid, right?
Yeah.
It's got to be solid before we start doing the photos, because that's a whole different level. You got somebody's videos and photos up there. When do you want to get the shot?
Oh
delete some stuff?
Gosh. And that's what you got to think about, because when I did event spaces, I said I know I can make a nice space. But let's say if we're not caterers and the chicken's cold, the whole thing is messed up. They don't even care about this space. Right. So that is important. Right. Staying true to like your core, Stay in lane. So another thing that I asked too is, what makes somebody go, or how did you build the trust to get people to say, I want to use a just-in-time DJ versus like a homeboy? Because a lot of people probably just know like DJ Freddie or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So how do they go with a just-in-time, like a company, over just like the guy on Instagram that DJs?
I think just them seeing the brand and seeing like me and my team out there, constantly doing the things and doing it right. Just being seen out in the community is one of the biggest things, and they builds the trust when they see us at a city event, they see us at a school event, they see us at a corporate event, or somebody else's wedding that did it. You've seen us out, you've heard about us. You might not book us, but you've heard us about us. So I think that makes a difference. People do book with who they know. So we have had some of those things, but all in all, we're going to be there on time, looking good and professional, right?
Yeah, it's going to be clean, everything.
A lot of people want to go with their neighbor, and then we get calls.
He may get there late a little bit.
He might not even, or I got sick, or like, oh my God. So there's we've received so many calls in the last few months of DJs not showing up, not last minute. You know what I'm saying? I had one, and we're good friends now. I did theirs in December. I was like, hey, I'll be there. Like I think it was about 20 days out or something. I was like, bro, I'll be there. Like,
what would you say ballpark is a percent of just like personal bookings? Like all of them are almost personal, right? But like personal bookings versus like a wedding, a school, or corporate.
I'm gonna say 80%
is mainly personal.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And then the
what are you talking about for what we do?
That you guys do, just
let's flip that. More of our events is schools, corporates, and weddings are personal, right?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say,
but not like a house party personal.
No, we don't do a lot of house parties.
I got you. It's mainly like
business.
We can call us. For sure. Okay. So now what I want to talk about as well is you were in law enforcement for 15 years while building a company. Then now you have another company focused on truck compliance, right? Was that because after you started working, you're like, I'm just used to like juggling two things with time, and now I got a lot of time, I can create something else. Like, where did that space and idea come from to say, let me create a whole nother company? What's up, everyone? I hope you're enjoying the episode. Real quick before we get back to it, if you guys are an online business coach selling a product or service online, we have the most efficient sales system that's going to help you do that. It's called the VSL Masterclass, and what it does is it allows you to do group sales calls, saving you time and energy. It also cut my ad costs down by 50% because you, as the authority figure, get to get in front of your audience every single day. We run the ads for you. You show up for a 30-minute call. You sell your product. If that sounds like something you're interested in, click the link below and I'll show you in my free class exactly how it can work for your business. Now let's get back to the episode. Yeah.
I'm like, why did I do that?
Right.
No, really, Tony. Like, the biggest thing is I've been doing that for the last 15 years, right? So like I know the people, and I built relationships. So when I like my last 2 weeks, I was like, okay, I got 5 or 6 calls each week asking DOT questions. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Like, I actually, because like when I did get calls back.
Why did you get those calls though? Where'd that come from?
Because I've been with the state for that long. They knew who I was. They knew I was in the motor carrier, the compliance. That's what I did. I pulled over trucks, and they've seen me on all the billboards, all the messaging and stuff like that, right? So if they, especially my local people, my mom or my parents, they'll, hey, my son works for DOT or something like that. You know what I'm saying?
That makes sense.
So I always got those calls, and I answered them, and I had to, and I was like, damn, I wish I could charge for this.
Yeah.
Now I can't. You know what I'm saying? So it's not a conflict of interest no more. You know.
Side question: why do I always see trucks getting pulled over? It doesn't seem like they're really going that fast. Like, what is it?
It's many things. Like I said, they have to be compliant. Every truck in the United States, Canada, or Mexico, they all follow the same FMCA rules, right? So that it could be tires, it could be no seatbelt.
What's wrong with the tires?
They can be bald. If a tire, have you saw a tractor trailer's tire blow out and it hits your car, or so some most people, 99% of truckers are really good people, and I was telling them what we were looking at on the road, that 1% that out there just trying to drive as much as they can. Some of them use drugs to stay up. You know what I'm saying? Some of them are drinking alcohol or whatnot. That's not a good combination.
That's not in a big truck like that.
Yeah. So that's what we did when we were on the road. We was enforcers. We look for stuff. We look for speeding. Look for dangerous actions that could hurt somebody. Because I've been to so many wrecks, man. So many horrible wrecks where I remember. I'm gonna tell you this one story. I-20 is the worst. Right there, 285 going into the city from the west side. I've seen so many people.
Like
I've seen so many people.
Like Coke, Grady, and all that.
Past Six Flags, you get past that FIB area, right?
Okay.
I've seen so many bad wrecks just in that area of just people like getting smashed to the back to people not paying attention, hitting the back of tractor trailers, even though it's not their faults. You know what I'm saying? It's not even their faults.
Yeah.
I've seen a tractor trailer going too fast, and he tries to not hit the cars in front of him, but he ends up hitting the wall, going through the wall and hitting somebody head on.
Yeah. That's
crazy. It was a University of Georgia student coming back home for holidays. You can even tell the motor came out of the tractor trailer, was on top of the car.
Oh my God!
He had oil. You can even tell he was a young college student. He was like an old guy after that happened to him. You know what I'm saying? Oh
man, yeah.
So that's why it's so important. People don't understand that. Why are trucks being pulled over?
Yeah.
Sex trafficking, drugs,
all that in there. What can you spot when you see like a truck? Like you're a cop, you're sitting on the side. Like, what do you kind of like? How is y'all's spider senses tingling when y'all are like pulling cars over?
It's the way your truck looks. The way you operate in your truck. You know what I'm saying? Like those just some of the little things. If you got cell phone, if you're 10 and 2 or what, you know what I'm saying? So those are the little things, but they're always like there's lights out, there's markers on the side. If you don't have your name visibly on the side, your company name, your DOT number, you know what I'm saying? Or you have 2 things on there. Well, how can you be 2 companies at the same time? Why would you have that on there? You know what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying.
So you have people like that. You literally have people like that. There's so many regulations, and it's only getting stricter because Georgia, everything that goes through the United States usually comes through Atlanta.
Okay.
We got the port. The port in Savannah is expanding. So I was like, this is a $1 billion industry, and it's only growing. Yeah. So everybody talks about how much money you can make in the trucking, but nobody talks about the compliance stuff. Right. The compliance side is very important. You got to keep your trucks out there on the road, right? You don't want to kill people. You don't want to hurt people because you're going to get sued. You're going to end up going to jail. Yep. So that's super important. I just didn't see that as a enforcement person then that's why I kind of decided to hey, this is something that we can do. Yeah.
What would you say when you were in law enforcement? I'm trying to think of just the context of how an everyday person sees law enforcement on the side of the road versus what you're thinking. Like, for instance, I got pulled over the other day, and then you're just like, oh, he's so bored, right? But you're on your side, and you may be looking at it from like, I'm actually here helping. Yeah, it's probably inconvenient for you, but I'm here helping. Versus us on the regular side, we're looking at like, oh, they're trying to hit quota. They're bored. They're this. Like, what is actually going through y'all's mind? You know what I mean?
Really, just like we're regular people just like anybody else.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We don't want to stop people we don't got to. We don't have to.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's wasting my time. It's something small.
Yeah.
But it's the biggest thing is like, can I prevent something from happening?
Got you.
Can I prevent this accident from happening? Somebody going down the road driving crazy in and out of traffic. Speeding. Speeding does kill if it's not handled. So I think that knowing that there is a consequence that does slow a lot of people down, and we all done it. I speed. You know what I'm saying? Like I do it too as well. But we're not out there just trying to get it. And I say we. I've been doing it for 15 years. Like so. I still consider myself a part of that community as well, and I still have my certification as well. But do I see myself putting on a uniform again? No, not anytime soon.
Yeah.
But like we're just normal people. We don't, I always want to treat people the way I wanted to be treated, or my family want to be treated. And I get there are some bad actors out there, just like any industry.
Yeah.
But most of the people out there that I work with were really good people, just trying to, do their job.
Yeah.
And go home.
Got you. One more question, because now I'm just curious, just like, you see cops go out there and risk their lives or whatever. How is that world? Because like down here, something happened, right? Fortunately the cop made it out, but it's like you wake up, you kiss your family. You're literally, your job is the street, like the streets is your office in a sense. And then you show up and now you get shot in the arm. Like, that's a whole nother job than somebody coming to a marketing agency or an insurance office. Like, it's like you're at war all the time. Like, what is that life like? You know what I'm saying? Like, just the risk tolerance. Like, are there jobs where you're just like, I'm not going because I'm scared, or that just doesn't happen?
It's scary, but you can't. If you're scared, you need to go ahead and get out of it. Because we're the people, if there's shots fired or anything there's at schools, we're the first ones heading there. There's many times where I was on one side of town, I heard it, somebody needs help, I'm going. Period. I'm going. Yeah. I would be in the middle of Atlanta down on 20. Yeah. There'd be something in Sandy Springs happening. We're running code. Yeah. Our officer needs assistance. Somebody got hit or something like that. Atlanta PD. I remember some of the Atlanta PD getting shot, running, just running, trying to find the guy that did it. Because, like, Lord forbid, what is he going to do next? You know what I'm saying? So there's always going to be, and I get the people, want sometimes police reform. I get into all. So I'm not into politics and all that kind of stuff. But these, like, a lot of these people come to work to do their job. They don't want to shoot somebody. Yeah. I don't want to shoot somebody. That's too much paperwork. Yeah. I don't want to be, but I don't want to hurt anybody either. So, but at the end of the day, I have to go home. And I have to get back to my family. And if you're the person that is trying to stop others and myself from getting home, that's a problem.
Got you.
That's a big problem.
And do you feel like also, like, when you're just like aware of something, it's not like as scary, right? So for instance, like, I was hanging up TVs in the office. They're like, you're just taking the TVs off the wall like it's nothing. But at that point, I'm familiar with how the TV goes on the wall, the weight distribution, all that. Because you guys are trained, used to guns, used to shooting, is it just as scary, or are you guys a little bit more familiar with like how to just operate with the bullets flying? You know what I'm saying?
Man, I mean, I don't think you get like used to it. Yeah. That's not an everyday thing.
It's not.
We train for it, but sometimes we're at the range. We have ear plugs, so we won't mess our hearing up. Yeah. So I feel like that. But when that adrenaline is going, it's like a totally different thing. But you want to say that training goes into effect when that happens, right? Fight or flight, right? We can't run, essentially. Yeah. We can. Right. We know where we got to pay attention to cover and where to get from cover and where the bullets go. I mean, it's hard. It's tough. Yeah. I've just seen a lot of ambush stuff going on at like Texas stuff. Like that is so scary. This past month, there are so many Georgia officers being shot in line of duty, which is crazy. Some killed. Dang. And that's a scary sight, and that's crazy that I said I just got out of that, And my mom's like, oh my God, like that, like how many years I did do without having to do anything. And I've chased people. I've had to have my rifle drawn. I've had to have my gun drawn. I've chased through woods and up and down the highways. Every day. You know what I'm saying? So I thank God that I always got to go home. You know what I'm saying? There's times I got hurt fighting somebody, Yeah.
Was it like speeding through traffic? Was that kind of fun?
No, 285 still sucks. With blue lights. I think it's worse with blue lights. People don't know what to do.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Look, I'm looking at the camera, right? You see blue lights, go to the right first, right? Try to get out the way or somewhere you can, right? Don't just stop in the middle of the road.
Right. That makes sense.
People don't know what to do when they see blue lights.
Yeah, they just freeze. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
So, that's tough, bro.
So I think a lot of people probably, and I'm hoping that they're inspired just by like building a business while still, having their main occupation going and how that's possible. I know people can call just in time, right. If they're in the Atlanta area, right? Like Atlanta, Douglasville, Carrollton, surrounding.
Florida, Georgia.
Oh, we're in Florida too.
Tennessee.
Okay.
And Alabama. Yeah.
Got you. Anywhere in Florida?
Panama City Beach. Okay. Orlando. We go down there. We do travel nationwide too as well. So,
okay. Cool.
We're some traveling DJs.
Yeah. So what is the pricing like for? Because yours is different than the homie that's just pulling up with the turntables, right? It's the business. There's more operations. There's traveling. So are these people willing to pay the premium that it costs? Because I'm sure it costs more than just the homie, right? Yeah. Some
of them are.
Yeah.
But like I tell my salespeople, I mean, like you can't beg somebody to book if they don't know our value. You know what I'm saying? So, like those are two different class of DJs.
Yeah.
Some people pay, some people won't.
Right.
Some people end up paying it anyway because their homie backs out or something.
Yeah. And then I think with yours is just the comfort of knowing everything's gonna be handled on time. Everything. There's someone else to call if something ever was to go wrong.
Multiple people. If something does go wrong, the DJ calls out. We got another DJ, right?
Yeah, got another DJ to get there.
We got a whole team.
Yeah.
And I hate the concept just DJs like. When I go out, I have an assistant go with me. That sets up equipment and all that kind of stuff, right? You say I'm bougie or not. But I just feel like it's so important that the DJ can focus on the music aspect, focus on just the couple themselves, you know what I'm saying? While like we have a guy that, a person that sets up equipment. You don't want a DJ sweaty, running around trying to move stuff and all. Like, we're not doing that. Like, I hate that.
He's by himself if something goes out. Everyone's looking at him, all that.
He has to focus on that problem and can't focus on the music. That doesn't make any sense. So we preach the team aspect.
Yeah.
And sometimes clients can't afford that. Sometimes they can.
Right.
If they can, I highly suggest it. Even adding on the MC sometimes. That even helps with the flow. The DJ can do what he does on the music. We have our MC floating around.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So it just makes a big difference.
Got you. So super cool with just the DJ part. So now with the trucking, say the name of it again.
Blue Core Compliance.
Blue Core Compliance. How do truckers or companies work with you on that? Like, how does that bridge together?
So they have to. There's a certain standard they have to go by, right? They have to get audits, and there could be random audits from the feds. So we want them to be ready for that. And a lot of the ones that we would like to target, either from 1 truck to about 75 trucks. That's still a lot of trucks, right? But they don't have safety directors in house a lot of times, right?
Right.
So and that's a more added expense. So that's where we come in. Where we'll check your trucks for you. We'll do some inspections. Say, hey, you need to check this. This is off. Or your logbooks are not correct. Logbooks are super important. That tells how much time your driver had on the road. So we just take that and all those components, your score and all that kind of stuff, just to make sure it's in compliance before the feds get there to you to find you.
Right.
You don't want your trucks taken off the road. That's going to cost you.
So does a trucking company they obviously know they have the problem because it's something in the back of a business head, like they're not compliant. What makes them call you versus anyone else? Like, how do they find you in that sense?
Well, online, right? We're getting better with our marketing online as well. I feel like a lot of people in this industry don't use social media, and that's what we're doing, right? To reach the masses more. We can stay local, but we're a nationwide company.
Yeah.
There's truck companies worldwide. And
okay, so do you guys have to go out to do this, or can it be all done online and virtually?
Out. We would like to go out to do this.
So if someone's in Arizona, you're in Atlanta, you got to go to Arizona.
We'll go fly to Arizona. Actually, it's been a week. It depends on what services we're doing with them. We'll spend a few days or a week. We'll do a complete audit of their back of house as well, just to make sure that's compliant, and their trucks as well. right? You got to make sure their trucks are in good working order.
Gotcha.
Before they hit the road again.
Oh, so it's also kind of mechanical as well. That goes
we're not like we look at it and we point it out, and we do. That's what I'm saying. We are bridging.
Tell them what they need to go,
what they need to get fixed, and we are partnering with. We already got some people in Atlanta that I would say go get it fixed there, right? He can come out to them, they can come to him, right?
Okay.
So I think that's really crucial in this industry, and we're trying to bridge that, right? Compliance doesn't have to be complicated.
Yeah, exactly.
And I feel like we're more down to earth, and we did it for 15 years. We over 20 years combined, right? Me and my COO, he's amazing. He's a director at a big company for the Southeast as their safety director, right?
Yep.
So he's already doing it for one big company. Now we're doing it for multiple companies. Where I feel like we're more down to earth, right? We got that Southern country feel, man.
What I like about it though is like in business. Even outside of the trucking, right? In business, compliance is everything.
Right.
But it's not that business owners don't want to be compliant. I think every business does.
Yeah.
In reality, a lot of businesses are small businesses.
Yeah.
They're working on a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And then they try to make a call downtown or to whoever that call needs to go to. They're like, hey, I'm going to give this 30, 45 minutes. And it goes completely left. They're getting transferred from this number to this number. And then what happens is they're just like, I'll try it again later. And they never get compliant. So that's where I'm seeing a service like yours comes in, because it seems like you take off the stress of becoming compliant. Because I would love that for like my business license and all this stuff and that. Like, sometimes they've came here like, oh, did you fill that form out? And I'm like, man, I went online. I tried to. Then they said this and then that, and then I just got to get back to it.
Keeps getting pushed back.
It keeps getting pushed back. You know what I'm saying? So that's where a service like yours makes complete sense.
Just think about that.
Yeah.
They're on the road. Some of these are owner operators, so they're out there on the road, 7 days a week sometimes. You know what I'm saying? So, and people don't know they can talk to the law enforcement side of it. They can talk to them, but have your stuff together, or you're gonna get it. It's gonna be notated. There's you get a free chance. No, so that's why we want to do that. We want to come out before you even have to do that, so you won't get those penalties or anything like that, right?
Got you.
And there's not enough officers. I was there, I was in charge of making sure we hire people. You know what I'm saying? Like get people in the door, and everybody's short nationwide.
Right.
There's shortages of officers, especially motor carrier officers too. There's not enough of them out there to do what they need to do, right?
And is this only for like 18-wheelers, or does this include box trucks and all that stuff?
Anything with a DOT number, anything over 10,001 pounds, right?
Okay.
And then anybody 26,001 pounds with a commercial license, right?
Okay.
So that's your landscaping companies, your dump trucks, your all those construction vehicles. So anything that is over those weights.
Probably like trash companies. We have
a trash company that we're talking to right now as well.
Okay.
They just started some stuff. So it entails a lot of things, and a lot of people think they don't need it until they do.
Yeah.
So that's why
and then when they do, it's usually like they're on a time clock, because they usually got like some type of ticket and trouble. They're on the radar now.
Right.
You're
on the radar. That score, the technology now, man.
Yeah.
Even at those weigh stations, it reads your score, and if you have a bad score, it's really gonna more likely bring you back automatically. It already reads like how much weight you're hauling on the interstate. People don't understand that, and then it brings you back for a second check, and then it brings you back again with a.
So when they're driving, it tells them if you need to go weigh or not.
Yeah, it tells you. Yeah, if they're riding on the interstate, it'll say, "Hey, come back to the scale."
To their computer system or something.
Computer system. Yeah, there's cameras.
Yeah.
Now. Officers can log in from there and be down the road and see them. So it's really a lot of technology.
They're very much so tracked.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, this has been amazing as far as in the information that we've got. Can you let the audience know, if you have any last words, you can say it to the camera, but let them know how they can find you for your personal, the DJ business, and a trucker who's probably like, man, I didn't even know we were talking about trucks, how they can tap in as well.
All right, so you can find me on Instagram. That's the best. That's the first thing you need to contact me on, at DJ Pat ATL. That's at DJ Pat ATL. You'll find the rest of the companies, but also follow at Just In Time DJ on Instagram, and at Blue Core Compliance as well.
Cool. So we're going to have all the links in the description below. I want to say big shout out to my guy, Patrick. If you need a DJ, click the link. If you need to get your truck right, click the link. And we'll see you guys on the next episode. Peace.